So what is going on? Welcome to the Weekly Shred. It's Thursday night. My name is Jim Schultz. I'm your tour guide here for the Weekly Shred, man. Just trying to get you all to Shredsville, right? Just trying to do everything that we can, everything that I can that's within my power to help you with your training and your nutrition and all of those things. If you are brand new to the channel, hey, if you want to hit me with a subscribe, we talk about things fitness, we talk about things faith, we do a little bit of finance here and there. That would be really, really amazing. If you want to hit me with a thumbs up on the video, that would also be doubly amazing. But tonight, we're going to talk about weight loss, and we're going to talk about fat loss. And wow, we already got my boy Soy Daviano throwing us a muscle, throwing us a praise there. Hallelujah, brother. Like, that is some good stuff indeed, man. So, what do you guys think? So, I'm curious. So, this is one of my things, man. Like, this is one of my hot button topics. This whole weight loss, fat loss thing. Like, obviously, I'm going to get into my thoughts. I'm going to get into, my opinion. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that weight loss and fat loss are the same thing? Do you guys think that you should view weight loss and fat loss the same way? Just a simple yes or no, like toss me in the chat box. I would love to know. Let's get the discussion started tonight. I would kind of love to know where you guys are at. And if you are brand new to the shred, by the way, just toss me a new down in the chat box so that I know that you are new and we can single you out and we can single you out. And so, yeah, so that would be good. So, weight loss and fat loss. So, here is the answer, right? I'll be curious to know what you guys think, but it better be how I feel, because otherwise it is not correct. Weight loss and fat loss. When you are just starting out, when you are just at the beginning of a brand new shred season, you're ready to go, you're fired up. I've got an example that we're going to work through here in just a couple minutes of somebody looking to lose 40 pounds or so, which I would say that's usually pretty typical, right? Some people want to cut some more, some people want to cut a little bit less than that, but that's usually a pretty good indication, right? Somebody's on the front end of a shred season. Weight loss and fat loss. And then here we go. So, hang on. My boy Soy Daviano. What an awesome name, by the way. Soy. My boy Soy says they're not the same, but building muscle raises metabolism and therefore facilitates weight loss. Ah, yes. The old build muscle, burn fat question. The old build muscle, burn fat combination. That's not exactly what we're going to talk about here tonight, but it's of course very related to what we're going to talk about here tonight, so I love that. You're absolutely right. Building muscle does raise your metabolism, which facilitates weight loss, allows you to eat more, allows you to look better, allows you to feel better. Like, that's a shred, all its own. Maybe we'll cover that next week, I don't know. But you're on the front end. You're on the precipice of a new shred season. You need to view weight loss and fat loss as basically being the same thing. Now, I know that's going to rustle some jimmies, man. That's going to twist up some knickers out there in the internet world. Because you will often hear you can't be a slave to the scale, you can't do this, you can't do that. Honestly, I think it overcomplicates things dramatically. I think what it does is it encourages people, right? Just kind of gently, just kind of, subliminally. I think we got it. I think it just encourages people to try to get too cute, to try to short circuit the system, to try to find a shortcut, right? To try to kind of cheat the system a little bit. And here's what I mean. If you're 40 pounds away from where you want to be, right? I've got an example that we're going to go through here in a second. Got somebody who's maybe 245, wants to be 205. It's a very, very common thing. That's kind of the path that I took myself so many years ago. You're not going to lose appreciable amounts of fat on your frame without seeing the scale go lower. Period. End of discussion, right? End of discussion. You are not going to, if you're 245 pounds and you're 25% body fat, right, which is pretty typical, right? That's a pretty normal starting point. I've been there myself. So, I mean, if you're in that spot, no shame on your game. I'm just saying that's a very, very normal situation to be in. If you're in that spot, you're not going to realistically see the scale stay at 245 and think that you're progressing to a leaner physique. That's just the truth, man. That's just cold hard facts, right? And so I think that what ends up happening with a lot of people, and I've seen it myself. I even kind of tricked myself into thinking this way for so many years. But with, just the athletes that I've coached, the students inside of Full Throttle, I mean, just people in the gym, like I see it all the time. People are like, yeah, I didn't lose any weight this week, but I must be gaining muscle, right? I didn't lose any weight this week. I must just be holding water. Right? And all those things could be true. And don't get me wrong, that does happen, from one day to the next, from 1 week to the next. But if you're looking at this thing over a period of several weeks, over a period of a month, over a period of 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, you need to be seeing a downward trend on the scale. Otherwise, you're just not progressing. Otherwise, you're just not losing body fat. And so I kind of wanted to say that here on the front end. I guess I've kind of let the cat out of the bag. Like, there's the conclusion, right? Like, yeah, they're pretty much the same. Now, I'm going to completely contradict myself here in about 5 minutes when I show you guys the graphics that I've created for you tonight, where you're going to clearly see they are not the same thing. But what I'm trying to suggest is, man, let's simplify this whole thing, right? Let's simplify this whole thing, and let's just lose weight. Let's just lose weight. Right? Let's just say, man, I just want to see the scale go lower. Right? Now, there are some other things we have to put into place, and we're going to talk about that a little bit here tonight. But, man, I just need to see the scale go lower. That will be the best indication that I am making progress. When I've just started, right, brand new 12-week, 16-week, 20-week, 52-week shred season, whatever you're doing, right, I just got rolling, I need to see the scale move lower. I need to see the scale moving south. And so Jones, thank you, brother. Hard truth to listen to. That's what I'm saying, man. That is absolutely what I'm saying. It's a hard truth to hear, but it is the truth that y'all need to hear, right? And my job here on the shred is, we're going to turn some people off. We're going to offend some people. People are not going to come back. But I'm not always going to tell you what you want to hear. I will once in a while, because I need them YouTube views. But I'm also going to tell you what you need to hear, which may not exactly be the same thing. So, all right. So here's what I want to do tonight. The first thing I want to do, I basically have two things that I want to show you guys. Now that we have the little preamble out of the way, I have two things that I want to show you guys. The first one is this. Let's not forget that when we lose weight, let's cut on over to the little image here. When we lose weight, it's always coming from a combination of three places. It's coming from muscle, not good. It's coming from body fat, very good, as indicated by the orange highlight in that box. And it's also coming from water, which is not that bad, right? I mean, that's not a bad thing. That's a pretty good thing, honestly. When we're losing weight, it's always coming from some combination of these three things. Now, there are a couple other elements, like, there's glycogen, which is kind of important, but not really that important in the long term. If you're like a competitive physique athlete like I am, then it does become a lot more important for energy and things of that nature. But generally speaking, your glycogen, it can be a pound or two a day, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be an appreciable amount over a period of weeks and of months. You could lose a little bit of bone, I suppose, and so there are some other elements in here, some cartilage, right? But these are the three main drivers. It's muscle, it's body fat, and it's water. And so, let's not forget that when we see the scale move lower, right? So it didn't even take me 5 minutes. I think it was like a minute and a half, right? I basically just contradicted myself, right? Where I said, hey, weight loss and fat loss, same thing. But then I just showed you all a graphic where, the weight loss that you actually achieve is three things, right? And we're going to see another graphic here in just a couple of minutes that a lot of times body fat is not even the main thing. Body fat is not even the primary, factor in the weight loss that you might see, that you might experience, right? A lot of times it's actually a lot more water than you might realize, which again is not a bad thing. It's a necessary thing, especially for the beginning of a new shred season. So I just wanted to make sure that we're all aware that when you lose weight, these are the three areas that it's going to come from. It's always going to come from muscle, body fat, and water. Now, I'm actually curious. When do you guys, I have two questions for you guys. I'd love to know the answer to both or either of these. Number one, how often do you weigh yourself? Do you weigh yourself every day? Do you weigh yourself once a week? Do you weigh yourself never? Do you weigh yourself a couple times a week? I'm really curious. I'm a daily guy. You know, I'm a 5 times a week guy. I mean, I want to be a daily guy, but sometimes when I get up in the morning in my household, especially if I sleep in a little bit and the circus is already awake, you know, got my wife, got the 3 children, it's like, yeah, I can't have a minute to myself in the bathroom. And so it's a little too chaotic. And so I'm just like, let me just get into my coffee. Let me just get into my day, get out the door and get to the gym. I don't worry about weighing myself. But most of the time, I'm a daily weigh guy. I like doing it that way. And we can talk about why that is the case at another point in time. But it's basically just because I want to have a nice, consistent collection of data points. Right? I don't want to weigh myself just once a week and it's just some random day where I'm either too high or I'm too low, and it gives me kind of a bad indication of where I am. So how often do you weigh yourself, and when do you weigh yourself? Do you weigh yourself in the morning? Do you weigh yourself when you get to the gym, after you get done training or whatever? Do you weigh yourself at night? All those kind of things. I'm a morning, empty stomach, just use the restroom. To me, just underwear, that gives you the cleanest, the most consistent reading on what you actually weigh. Right? If you're weighing yourself at different times in the day, you're obviously going to get inconsistent readings. And so, if you guys don't take anything away from tonight, then, I would take away, I would strongly consider weighing yourself more frequently if you can handle it. For some people, it can be psychologically damaging. And I understand that, right? I totally respect that. But at least don't be a once a week guy or a once a week gal. I really think multiple times a week is the way to go. Especially, honestly, if you are a female. Because, clearly there are certain times of the month when your body does hold a lot more water than other times. And so that can be psychologically damaging. If you weigh yourself one time a week and it happens to be on the day when you're just a water balloon, it's like, yeah, that's probably not going to help you too much up top there. So weigh yourself at least multiple times a week. Daily, I think, would be best. And first thing in the morning, I think, just makes the most sense. I think first thing in the morning is just makes the most sense. So here we go. So Jones, here we go. So let's see. Oh, nice. Okay, so we got some nice comments today. This is awesome. So James, when I do low carbs, 4 days later, I lose 5 pounds of water. We're gonna talk about that in just a second. So sit on that for just a minute there, James. That's really, really good. And then Jones weighs in the morning. That's awesome. So boom. Yep, me too, my man. So Jimmy James, there he is. There's my man. Hey, I sent you an email today, man, just checking up to see how things are going. So let me know. I really want to know, and I want to know if I can help with anything. So daily and about the same time. Yeah. So that's pretty much what I do. That's effectively the same thing. So James says almost never. Love it, dude. I love it in that I hate it. Like I don't understand. I don't understand. I'd love to know. I'd love it if you would elaborate on that a little bit. And so let's see. So that's good. And then Jimmy James, 8:30 with coffee. There you go, man. Got to do it. Get that diuretic action. And then we got Jones. I weigh myself, measure my blood glucose and ketone levels every morning on an empty stomach. That's cool, man. So I actually I have a YouTube video. It's gotten a lot of traction, and a lot of people don't like it. So you guys should go look at this. It's gotten a ton of thumbs down, which is funny to me because I was really just having fun, and people are fired up about it, man. People are super fired up. They're like, yeah, this is stupid. He titled this wrong. He did this. He did that. I'm like, you guys just gotta live with it. So I did a video. It's on the YouTube channel. You can find it. Artificial sweeteners and insulin. So what I did was I did a little test where I drank a bunch of Diet Pepsi one morning, and I had a blood glucose monitor, and I measured my blood glucose like throughout the morning, and I had some coffee, and I had these things that were not caloric in nature, but they did have artificial sweeteners in them, like aspartame in the Diet Pepsi, Splenda in the coffee and stuff. And I wanted to see if it raised my blood sugar, and it actually did raise my blood sugar a little bit, with this crappy little CVS machine that I had. And so I'll check it out on the YouTube channel. You gotta go back. It was like a year and a half ago, or if you just search on the YouTube channel for artificial sweeteners and insulin, give it a look and give it a thumbs up, because I think it's like 50-50 with the thumbs up and the thumbs down. So we got to turn the tide a little bit. But I don't do it now, Jones, but I used to do it before. And it was interesting to see how my body processed carbs. I don't want to go, we're already down this tangent and inside of this rabbit hole, but it's really cool to measure your blood glucose just to see how well your body is processing carbohydrates. It can really be, I mean, obviously, if someone is diabetic or something of that nature, they have to do these things. But just from an overall health standpoint, I found it very interesting to see how my own body was processing carbohydrates. And it's something I'm going to do on a more regular basis moving forward too. I haven't done it in a while, but I like that, man. I like that a whole lot. I'm not measuring my ketone levels, however. And so more power to you, my man. And so there you go. I weigh in the morning. Dr. Z, scale barely moves for me. So there you go. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I like it. And then James, he just hangs between 228 and 233. That's awesome, man. Like, I mean, if that's what you're going for, then that's great. You know, if you've kind of got that nice little tight range, like that's really, really good. So good stuff. Great, man. Great discussion tonight, guys. This is really, really awesome. So we lose weight. It comes from one of three places, right? It comes from muscle, body fat, and water. Okay. When you are at the beginning of a shred season, you need to just focus on losing weight. And here is the reason why. To elaborate on my thinking there, what I want to do now is let's pull up the second little graphic that I have for you guys. So let's suppose that you're 245 and your goal is to be 205. So once again, this is a very common, very normal situation. You know, you may not be 245, you may be 285, you may be 205, right? You may be, a female, you may be 175 and you want to be 150 or whatever the case may be, right? You want to cut about 40 pounds, let's say. So the average weekly weight loss, let's just say, is 2.5 pounds. So it's going to take you about 15 or 16 weeks. And in this example, I just have it at 15 weeks. I've color-coded the weeks here, referencing back to the previous slide, like this guy right here, where it shows muscle, body fat, and water, right? So the muscle is the gray box, the body fat is the orange box, and the blue box is the water. Now, I tried to draw it to scale as best I could, but I know it's off by a little bit, but I just did what I could with what I had. And so let's kind of work through a few of these weeks, and I think we're going to learn something very interesting about how weight loss usually happens. Again, I just made these numbers up, right, just to serve as some reference point, some indication of what we can reasonably expect. So if you look on the x-axis there, we don't have every week. I just, put up the first few, the last few, and then just one random week in the middle. So in the first week, it's not very uncommon, right, for you to get started, for you to get fired up. You clean up the diet a little bit, you hit the gym, and, you lose 3.5 pounds. You lose 4 pounds, right? You lose a lot that first week. That's very, very common. The reason why that happens is because you have lost a lot of water. The reason why that happens is because a lot of what you are seeing on the scale is indeed water loss. Now, let me pause here for just a brief second. This is not a bad thing. This is not a negative thing. This is not something that should throw you for a loop or should discourage you or dissuade you. This is very, very good, right? Because as you move towards a leaner state, as you move towards a leaner physique, you are just naturally going to be drier. You are just naturally going to be tighter. Now, you won't really see this in the very beginning, right? Because you still have a lot of fat to lose. You're still looking and feeling kind of fluffy and kind of soft. But when you get towards the end, it's going to show up and you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm not talking about like bodybuilder dry. Like, that's not what I mean. I'm talking about average, everyday people that take their fitness very, very seriously. Like, that's who we're talking to on the weekly shred. You're going to notice more dryness. You're going to notice more tightness, but it won't really show up until the end. And one of the reasons why is A, you've gotten lean enough, but also B, you've now flushed out all the excess water from your body, which is a really, really positive thing. So, all right, so let's go back. So I lose 3.5 pounds the first week. A lot of it's water. The second week, let's say I lose 3 pounds. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to go down. I just kind of picked numbers at random here to kind of show some general relationship. You lose 2 pounds of that 3 pounds from water. That's a very, very good estimate. That's very likely to happen. Water is still going to be the primary driver here, right? You lost a pound of body fat the first week. You lost another pound of body fat the second week. You haven't lost any muscle yet. This is also very common. Usually when you start a brand new shred season, as long as you are weight training to some degree, your muscle loss will be kept to a minimum. It will probably be virtually zero. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about muscle loss in just a minute as you see it start to show up there at the very end. In the beginning, because your body has so much body fat to lose, it's very likely that you're not going to lose any muscle, maybe very, very little muscle. And so you don't really have to worry about that so much. Then you get into week 3 and you lose 1.5 pounds of body fat and only 1 pound of water. So what is the point here? The point here is this. In the beginning, even though most of what you will lose for the first 1, 2, maybe 3 weeks, right? I'm just kind of making these numbers up again, but definitely for at least the first week or two. Most of what you lose is going to be water. That is absolutely true. But if you just focus in, like laser-like focus, just focus in on driving that scale lower. Just focus in on driving that scale south. Not in a crazy way, right? Like if you've been following the shred for a while, this is what we've talked about. We want to do, a modest caloric deficit. We're not doing anything crazy. We're not trying to drive it down as low as possible. We just want to see a steady decline over time. That's what we're talking about. If you do that, man, it just keeps you on track. It just keeps you on track. It keeps you focused. And it is the most objective, unbiased barometer of progress that exists. The scale. Right? Yes, that's right. Our long lost friend, the scale. It's objective. It's unbiased. It's not a picture. It's not a mirror. It's not your genes, although genes can also be pretty objective and unbiased because they're just going to do what they're going to do. But I think the scale, in the beginning, can be the most effective tool for you. It's like, hey, I just want to see this thing go lower. If this thing is going lower, then you can rest assured you're losing water and you're losing body fat. Now, again, these are both very important. You want to lose both of these. Yeah, of course, you want to lose more body fat, but that's not typically how it works in the very beginning. All right, so let's go to like week 7, right? Week 7, now all of a sudden, the water is starting to dry up a little bit. You're probably pretty dry at this point. Again, you may not see it. You may not feel it, but you're probably pretty dry by 6, 7, 8 consistent weeks of dieting. You've gotten appreciably leaner now. In this example, 7 weeks, you probably lost about almost 20 pounds, 17, 18, 19 pounds. So you are going to look different. You are going to feel very different. And, you're halfway to your goal at this point. Now is when the muscle loss can probably start to show up. Now is when there's a reasonably high probability that you could be losing some muscle if you're not careful. And again, if you look at, well, not again, we haven't done it yet, but if you look into week 13, 14, and 15, you see now we're not really losing any water anymore, which is not to say you can't. You can. Again, this was just to kind of make a general overview of what to expect. Now it's probably going to be a combination of fat and muscle that you're losing at the very end. Remember, now we're talking about the last 4 or 5 pounds. We're talking about the last 6 pounds, which, by the way, you've always heard, losing the first 5 pounds is exciting. Well, if you've been following my content for any length of time, you've probably heard me say, you think losing the first 5 pounds is exciting? Try losing the last 5 pounds. The last 5 pounds will completely change how you look. The last 5 pounds will completely alter the way that you look. And so I know this from experience in 2017 and then also in 2019. Both my last 2 competitive seasons, I got down to 168 in 2017 and 167 in 2019. And man, I'll tell you, I have the pictures to show for it. The way my physique looked when I was 173 and the way my physique looked when I was 168, it's completely different. It's completely different. It's like, wow, there's such a big difference in that last 5 pounds. So, for those of you out there that, you're tuning in tonight, so you're probably at least reasonably interested in, getting leaner, getting lighter, getting to Shredsville, whatever the case may be. It's like, man, I would just encourage you to go for it, man. Don't give up when you're 5 to 10 pounds away, because that can really, really change the way that you look. But the main thing that I want to say here, I just kind of want to pause there for a second. When you get near the end, this is where muscle loss can really start to show up. This is when you run the risk of starting to burn through, starting to chew through that precious, valuable muscle tissue that you have on your frame. And the reason why is simply this. You are now leaner. You are now lighter, right? Your body, it's losing body fat, right? It doesn't have any more water to pull from. Not really. It's losing body fat, right? And remember, the three places that it comes from are muscle, body fat, and water. And it's like, okay, you keep seeing the scale go lower. Maybe at the end, you're not losing 2.5 pounds a week. Maybe it's only a pound or 1.5 pounds. But you're not really pulling off any water from your frame anymore. So now it's only going to come from body fat and from muscle. Well, your body's looking around and it's like, man, we don't have as much body fat as we used to have, right? We don't have the love handles that we used to have, right? We don't have the lower back flap that we used to have, right? So where am I going to pull this muscle? Where am I going to pull this, this body weight from? I'm going to pull it from muscle. Right, I'm going to start pulling it from muscle. This is just a very natural consequence of dieting for lengthy periods of time, of getting a lot leaner. And don't use it as an excuse, right? I actually hear this a lot from guys in the gym, like, man, I don't want to diet. I don't want to lose any muscle, right? And I get it. I can appreciate that. I mean, I've been there many, many times myself. But I'm like, I think it's an excuse. I think it's a bit of a cop-out. Right? Because people don't want to pony up. People don't want to ante up and really get serious about getting, 15, 20, 25, 30 pounds leaner. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you don't want to get leaner, then don't get leaner. Like, don't let me choose your goal for you, right? I mean, you got to do you. But I'm just saying, like, these same guys will kind of complain about not being lean, not being, shredded, not being in better condition. It's like, hey, man, you can't have them both, right? Every gimme has a gotcha. So you got to be willing to give up maybe a little bit of that muscle, along the way. It's just a natural byproduct of getting leaner. However, you notice in the beginning, it's not really an issue. In the end, also, it doesn't have to be that big of an issue, right? Now, if you go from 245 to 205, you lose 40 pounds, you're not going to get away with zero muscle loss. That's probably impossible, right? But could you keep the muscle loss to an absolute minimum where it's only a couple of pounds of muscle tissue? Yes, you absolutely could, right? And I don't know if it'll be 2 pounds or 4 pounds or whatever it'll be. But here are the two things that you need to do to minimize your muscle loss when you are dieting for a long period of time. This could actually be its own shred, but I'll just do it in like 30 seconds. Number one is not weight training. That's number two. Number one is not weight training. That's number two. That's B. A, and this shocked me actually. A is actually you have to eat enough protein. Now, I don't know if there's a huge gap between those two, right? Like A and B, like 1 and 2. It's probably more like a 1A, 1B type thing. At least that's how I feel about it anecdotally with my own, bro science. But you got to eat enough protein. If you are not eating enough protein, that is one of the easiest ways that you will begin to lose muscle tissue. Because it has the building blocks, it has the amino acids, it has everything that your muscles are craving to stick around. It has everything that your muscle tissue is wanting to stay on your frame. So you gotta eat enough protein. Just keep it simple, keep it standard. 1 gram per pound of body weight is fine. You can go a little higher than that. I usually go a little bit higher than that with the athletes inside of Full Throttle, and I do myself, for a bunch of reasons I won't get into now. But if you get into if you're around 1 gram per pound, that's absolutely fine. Eat enough protein, and then you gotta hammer yourself in the gym. You gotta challenge yourself in the gym. You gotta pony up. You gotta ante up in the gym. It doesn't mean you have to go balls to the wall and, just max effort every session. But it just means that you've got to be serious and you've got to be challenging yourself on a regular basis. If you do that, then at the very end of like this little timeline here, you're probably not going to lose very much muscle at all. You might not even lose 1 pound in those last couple of weeks. I mean, you might, but you also might not. And so The main point today, and then I would love to know what comments, questions, thoughts, concerns you guys have out there. The main point today is this. You got a brand new shred season coming up. Maybe it's today, right? Well, today's a Thursday. Nobody starts on a Thursday. Tomorrow's a Friday. Nobody starts on a Friday. But Saturday, maybe you start on Saturday. That's a good day to start. That's the day that I always start. Only because bodybuilding shows are on Saturdays. So let's say you're going to fire this up on Saturday. Here is what you should do. You know now. You maybe knew before, but now you know for sure. You lose weight, it comes from one of three places. Muscle, body fat, and water. But you know what you need to focus on? Just losing weight. That's it. Right? At the very end of the shred season, when you're 3 pounds away from where you want to be, when you're 5 pounds away from where you want to be, where a 1 pound difference can have a huge effect on how you look, that's when the scale starts to lose some reliability, right? That's when the scale might not be the best indication of you're making progress or not making progress. That's when other things like, pictures, mirror, Instagram filters, that's where all these other things come into play that you should focus on to determine if you are progressing or not. But right now, in the beginning, man, you just got to be locked in on pushing that scale lower. In fact, here's another video you guys can check out on the YouTube channel as I hawk my own videos here tonight. So check out the artificial sweeteners video. That'll be a good time. Also, check out the weight loss time-lapse video that I did in 2017. And I did this in preparation for my 2017 bodybuilding season, where I was lucky enough to win a novice title and almost turn pro. I took second place, actually. And so that's the goal for the next bodybuilding season. But I did a weight loss time-lapse where I took a video every single day for like 300, or not a video. I took a picture. Well, Autumn took the picture, and let me tell you, she loved it. Autumn took a picture every day for like 300 days. And it shows me going from 209, I think, 208, 209, down to 168. And you see the actual time lapse every single day, right? It's only like 2 minutes long. We did it really fast. My video guy hooked it up. It's really, really well done. I was really pumped with how he put it together. But go back on the YouTube channel and just search for weight loss time lapse on my YouTube channel and you'll find it. And it's just really cool because not because of how it turned out, which is I'm proud of it. I think it is cool, but it's really cool because all I focused on was losing weight. That's it. That's all I did. I said I just want to lose weight. That's it. I'm just gonna push the scale lower. And keep in mind, right? I was stepping on stage where nobody cared what you weighed. It didn't even matter, right? It's all that mattered was how you look. All that mattered was the physique that you present. Which, I mean, I would argue that's how we all feel. Even if you're not a competitive bodybuilder, you don't really care how much you weigh, I don't think, right? You want to probably be lighter because it might be healthier for you, but you really just want to look better, right? Well, here's what I'm telling you. Looking better, right, and losing weight are effectively synonymous. If fat loss is your goal right now, if fat loss is not your goal right now, then if you're watching this and you're still watching this, then thank you, because this really didn't help you at all. But if fat loss is your goal right now, then looking better and losing weight are the same thing. That's what you need to focus on. That's what I focused on. When again, what I weighed at the end didn't even matter, but I just knew. I said, I'm just going to simplify this whole thing. I'm just going to push my weight lower, and that's what I did, and it worked out really well. And guys, man, this is already hard enough. It's already hard enough, and there's so many moving parts going around. It's like, man, let's just make this really simple. Let's train our tails off. Let's get a sound nutritional strategy in place, and then let's just lose weight. That's it. That's all you got to do. And so let's see. So James says, have to take off. Thanks for the stream. You got it, James. I appreciate you, man. No, I appreciate your time, dude. I mean, well, if you guys can only watch for a minute, dude, I'm really thankful that you guys do it. So let's see. Good question. Is animal protein better than plant protein, or it doesn't make any difference? Great question. Let me think. So I did a video on the YouTube channel too. That was it wasn't on this. It was on whey protein and collagen protein. So it's kind of a similar thing, but a little bit different. Generally speaking, animal protein is going to have a higher leucine content than plant protein. Leucine is an amino acid, and leucine has been shown to be the amino acid that's going to trigger muscle protein synthesis. And so it's the amino acid that you really want to make sure that you're ingesting in ample supply. Usually, animal protein has higher leucine content than plant protein. So it is better, it is more efficient at triggering muscle protein synthesis. But if you're a vegan or something like that, or you just prefer plant protein, that's perfectly fine. All you have to do to make up the difference is eat a higher quantity of it. So you might not be able to only eat 1 gram per pound of body weight. You may have to be up at like 1.3 or 1.4 or something like that, which as long as you're, as long as you have normal, regularly functioning kidneys, you'll be perfectly fine. There's nothing unsafe about that, but you just have to make up the difference. And so that's what I would say for you out there, Jones. And so LOL nobody, says Jimmy James. I don't know what that was, but you threw me the LOL, so that's good. I got a smile out there. That's good. Let's see. Oh, Jones, you found the artificial sweetener video. Got it queued up, dude. Let me know what you think about that, man. Like, and again, if you're gonna watch it, like, we're boys now, dude. Like, you gotta hit me with that thumbs up, because I don't know how many unlikes are on there, but I know it's a lot. And so, yeah. So that's pretty fun. But I don't know, guys. I mean, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I've got for you guys tonight. But if you're looking to get leaner, just focus on losing weight, man. Just keep it simple. Really, just keep it simple. You won't be upset. You won't be upset. I've just seen people spin their wheels for so long, so many different times, where they're just like, I think I'm gaining muscle. I think I'm doing that. I'm just like, honestly, I think you're not progressing. You're probably just eating too much, right? And that's a whole separate thing that we've talked about quite a bit already on the shred. So I want to go in a different direction tonight. But yeah, man, just lose some weight. So you guys are amazing. If you haven't done it already, if you want to hit me with a thumbs up on this video, that would be awesome. If you want to share it with a friend, just copy it and text it to somebody or email it to them. Be like, hey, you got to check this out. Pretty interesting guy. Pretty crazy guy. I mean, you can add whatever description you want to. That would also be awesome. If you're brand new, please consider subscribing. That would be terrific. And then drop down into the description. There's all kinds of free stuff down there. Man, we got the fat loss formula down there. We got a free cardio plan. You can go on down to livefcube.com. We've got some blog articles, got some videos, got some extra goodies for you guys over there. You can check out Full Throttle Fat Loss, which is also over there. And I think that's it, man. I think the weekly shred for this Thursday, October 15th, 2020, has come to a close. So you guys are amazing. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention very much. If I can ever help you guys in any way, just let me know. I'm just Jay Schultz F3 pretty much across the board on social media, or at Jay Schultz, or just Jay Schultz F3 at gmail.com. Let's go with that. You don't usually put the Gmail first. And so we'll do that. And yeah, I would love to be able to help you however I can. So I hope you guys have a great night. We will, of course, be back next week. And so, Jones, sorry, more thumbs down than thumbs up. I know, dude. It's so funny. I think that's hilarious, man. And so you got it. Let's even it out, dude. Toss me a thumbs up. And, if you got like a wife or children, like, have them do it too. Like, we need all the help we can get. And so it's just hilarious, because I meant to do it as a joke. I think it's pretty obvious that I did it as a joke in the video, but people on YouTube, man, they're something. They're really a special kind of people. So, but not you guys, of course. You guys are actually special people. And so, all right, guys, you guys are amazing. Jimmy James says nobody starts their shred on a Friday. Yes, that's true. There you go. I completely agree. Nobody starts on a Friday. So, but let me know. Let me know how yours is going. I know Jimmy James is one of our newest athletes in Full Throttle. So let me know how it's going, man. Like, respond to my email. Let me know how I can help you. And I'm always happy to do that. So, all right, you guys are amazing. I'm gonna run. If I can help with anything, just let me know. Have a great Thursday. Have a great weekend. And we will see you guys next time.